family fed, send the children to school and a roof over our head. So respect we needs and keep them inside, cause these things are just our basic human rights. Human rights.
Women around the world are finding new ways of making their presence felt and their voices heard. Working together, they're transforming the ways in which they live and are becoming a growing power for social change. In the past 20 years, the struggle for equality between men and women has gained momentum and pushed women's rights up the global agenda. Worldwide, gaps between the sexes in areas such as health and education have narrowed considerably. But women still suffer from violence both at home and in society. Their reproductive health is often neglected, and there's a long way to go before injustices and discrimination are eliminated. Women make up 70% of the world's poor, do 2/3 of the world's work, earn 1/10 of the world's income, and hold only 10% of the world's parliamentary seats. While no country yet offers women the same opportunities as men, women themselves are coming together to spread their message of women's rights, as demonstrated by the work of Sewa, the Self-Employed Women's Association of Ahmadabad in India. Sewa has been a movement for poor working women for the last 20 years. In 1984, it set up a video collective for its members to address the issues of concern to them.
આશ્રમમાં શ્રી નેલ્સન મંડેલા સાથે સેવાની બહેનોની મુલાકાત હું ઝોના પ્રોગ્રામ માટે જાપાન દૂરદર્શને શ્રી ઈલાબેનને કરેલ શૂટિંગ.
We use this technology because it's very powerful, it's very honest, it's very authentic. Nobody was for us and we had to struggle everywhere because firstly we were women, we were poor women, we were illiterate women, so we were just, told that you cannot do anything.
In an African country called Mali, and in the villages I saw how the villagers were developing, developing programs, and those programs were being also purchased by the neighboring countries. So I saw that this is a very powerful tool, and then if the African villagers can use this tool, then why not my women?
मदीना बहन, हाँ उलेला बहन सेवा में से आई आओ, हाँ बोलो आओ, आओ आओ, बोलो.
In Video Sewa, it has always been teamwork. It's not that, okay, I'm a camera person or I'm a sound person, a sound recordist or whatever. It's always been teamwork. So you start right away from having a meeting, having a discussion, making a script, to, getting the cables or putting the switches, whatever, or crowd control. Everything is done in a team. For women, for training women, for educating women, this was the most powerful tool with us. And women themselves were using it. So it was empowering them because their issues were coming up.
A massive workforce, particularly women in majority, are in the unorganized sector contributing to the national economy. Women are working. Poor women are not a burden. They are a resource for development, and they do have knowledge, information, and there is something to learn from them. And therefore, an alternative media like this can play a very major role in development.
हम लोग पठान हैं, हम बाहर नहीं जाते हैं, लेकिन घर की कुछ ऐसी तकलीफ थी और नाम सुना था सेवा का, तो फिर ऐसे घर से आए 4 महीने तो हमने चुपकी चुपकी काम किया इधर. फिर भी यानी भाई को यानी हमारे फादर को पता चलेगा तो बोलेंगे. फिर हम तो जरा हिम्मत खुल गई, फिर यहाँ पर आए. हम लोग तो बैठे हुए थे, हमको पता भी नहीं था कि हमको वीडियो में, हम तो हाथ भी नहीं लगाते ये चीज़ को, कि डरते थे. मगर इसने बोला कि ईलाबेन ने बोला कि चलो मदीना का भी नाम लिखो, तो 25 मेंबर थे हम लोग. तो हमने फिर उसके अंदर मैंने बोला नहीं बहन मुझे तो नहीं करना, क्योंकि ये तो सब ये काम का मैं तो पढ़ी लिखी भी नहीं और मुझे नहीं ये आएगा. तो कि नहीं मुझे ना सुनने की आदत नहीं है, तुमको तो करना ही होगा.
પછી તો એ જ મિટિંગનામાં એમને વાત કરી કે જેને શીખવું હશે ને ટ્રેનિંગ લેવી હોય તો અમે આપીશું. તો મેં કહ્યું બેન હું ભણેલી તો નથી. તો કે ભણેલા ના હોય તો કંઈ નહીં કે. પછી હું ત્યાંથી વિડીયોના અંદર જોડાઈ 84માં ને મેં 3 હપ્તાની ટ્રેનિંગ લીધી. ट्रेनिंग એટલે શિક્ષણ લીધું 3 હપ્તાનું. 3 હપ્તાના અંદર મને કેમેરા હાથમાં પકડવા મળ્યો.
तालीम ली थी, उसमें मैंने साउंड किया, प्ले किया, रिवाइंड किया, फास्ट फॉरवर्ड, रिजेक्ट, स्टॉप, पॉज सब मैंने किया. फिर कैसेट कैसे बाहर निकालनी, कैसे अंदर डालनी, सब हमको सिखाया. इन लोग ने अच्छी ट्रेनिंग चली हमारी. फिर हमने बाहर बगीचे में जाके लोगों के इंटीरियर शूटिंग किया. मैंने भी अपनी 3 टैप बनाई प्रोड्यूसर बन के. तो उसमें मैंने एक टैप बनाई पर्दे के पीछे. वो मुस्लिम बहनों की थी जो पर्दे बुरखे पहनते हैं, मगर बुरखे का मतलब क्या.
The main work of Video Sewa is not just making a production, but it's replaying it. I mean, you can make a series of productions that if they lie on the shelf, it's of no use. So one work is replaying, and the feedback you get from that, that is the real achievement for any person.
અમે તમને આજે કેસેટ બતાવવાયા છે, તમે જોવા આવશો ને બધા? સેવા બેંકમાંથી સવિતાબેન બધા કામ કરે છે ને અહીંયા.
મારું નામ નિરંજના જાલ. હું રિસેપ્શનિસ્ટ અને ટેલિફોન ઓપરેટરનું કામ કરું છું. હું ખોખરામ અમદાવાદ વિસ્તારમાં રહું છું.
મારું નામ મણીબેન છે. હું બાપુનગર રહું છું. ટૂંકથી નાસ્તામાં ચા બનાવવામાં છું.
મારું નામ મોણેકબેન કાળીદાસ ચૌહાણ.
તમે અહીંયા ઓળખાણ આપતા હતા, કોઈ બેન એવું બોલી કે બેન હું કશું જ નથી કરતી? આપણા મા બાપે ગમે તે નાતી ધર્મના હોઈએ, રાશિ જોઈને કે ગમે તે જોઈને એમને આપણું નામ તો પાડેલું ને. એટલે આપણું અસ્તિત્વ છે. આપણે કામ પણ કરીએ છીએ, આપણું રહેવાનું પણ ઠેકાણું છે. કાચું હોય, પાકું હોય, ઝૂંપડું હોય, ગમે તે હોય, પણ આપણું પણ એક ઘર છે. એટલે આપણું અસ્તિત્વ છે. એટલે અસ્તિત્વ છે તો પછી કેમ આપણે આપણી ઓળખાણ ના આપીએ?
વિડીયો ના હોત તો અમારે ફેર ના પડત બેન. અમારે એમ કે વિડીયો હતો તો અમે વિડીયોથી જ્યારે અમને પોલીસ, ટ્રાફિક, મ્યુનિસિપાલિટી રોડ પર અમને લાતો મારે, અમારે ટોપલા પણ ફેંકી દે. કે જ્યારે અમે સેવામાં જોડાયા ત્યાર પછી મેં વિડીયો દ્વારા વાત કરી કે અમારે એક ગરીબ બહેનો કે જેના ઠેકાણે એ લોકોના ઘરે બેઠા 5, 6, 7 જણ ખાનાર હોય, કોઈ રોજી રોટી કોઈ બીજી હોય નહીં, એ લોકો રોડ પર બેસીને ધંધો કરે. તો અમે પોલીસ સરકારને શું મુશ્કેલી આવવાની છે? તો એના ઉપરથી પછી મેં એક ફિલ્મ બનાવી. એનું નામ એમ કે માણક ચોકની ફિલ્મ બનાવી, એટલે કે માણક ચોક. બસ એ ફિલ્મનું નામ જ માણક ચોક પાડી અમને. ને એનામાં એ પણ એ બહેનોને ખાસા એ ફિલ્મ બનાવે છે. એ લોકોને 360 સભ્યને લાયસન્સો મળ્યા. પછી એ લોકોને બેસવાની તકલીફ દૂર થઈ.
બાકી અમે નાના પણ બાળકો લઈ કરીને ધંધો પણ કરવાની, તો પછી અમને બહુ પણ મુસીબત છે. અમારા નાના બાળકો બાકી અમે પોલીસ વાળી જો રસ્તા લઈએ તો અમારા ટોપલા છે. અમારા નાના બાળકોને કોઈ બાકી અમને આટલા બધા કેમ તાસો ગરીબ પૈડા અમને ગરીબ પૈડા પર બહુ મુસીબત છે. અમને પોલીસનો ત્રાસ, બીજાનો ત્રાસ. અમે ગરીબ બહેનો 50 વર્ષના મારા ભોગ વર્ષો છે.
We were able to make them visible. We were able to also show that what are their problems, small and big, which are related to their income, to their living conditions, to their working conditions, and also related to the policy of the government and other public policies. And there we have been able to make a dent into the public media and make our statements.
The main objective of Video Sewa was one, it was to enter the mainstream. And that was the major breakthrough. Like our program went into Doordarshan and it was telecast by Ahmadabad, by Rajkot and by Bhuj. and that's how we reached masses. As Sewa is expanding, it's become a women's new movement. That's why we started the whole thing of Sewa Samachar, because now that Sewa is becoming so big, women can give their information and can take information that is available over here. So for that, we want to expand our area of working also and start small community centers in the villages.
We have to struggle and work hard, and those who believe in such alternative development kind of media has to be allies and support each other, and then set up such a network of their own. So it should be a network of the rural people themselves, rural communities themselves. I mean, whatever kind that they want, but it should be their own, I mean, owned by them, managed by them, and should benefit to them. It should not be like an invasion of the outsiders coming from outside and covering the rural areas and rural communities. No.
The example of Sewa shows that through collective action, it's possible for women to gain the skills and confidence to express themselves, define their rights, and bring about change, and that this can be achieved through the imaginative use of video and other popular education technologies.
First of all, they allow people to express themselves in ways that are very powerful, you know, whether it is a play or a video or a poem or a song or a dance or art. These are very powerful means of communication. And if you're talking about empowering for change or empowerment or collective action, then these are the methods that you have to use.
I think that what has happened in women-led organizations is that without being appointed, because these are initiatives that women themselves bring about, without being appointed by men, they go in there, they initiate, they create, and they provide leadership, sometimes excellent leadership, and that ought to be a clear demonstration that it is the opportunities that they are denied, that they have the potential.
Another group that demonstrates the potential of women-led organizations is the theatre collective Sistren in Jamaica.
I want to hear the drums, yeah. Keep them rolling, yes. Now let me hear the bass. I say, greetings to all, sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers and mothers who are fathers, nieces, nephews, uncles, aunties, and grannies. Yeah! We're gonna have a great show tonight, so let me hear the applause. Yeah! Wait. Stop the music! Stop the music! What kind of finky clap that? Eh? What is bothering all you people? Price of flour leak out of sight. Roof a leak and landlord a fight. No place in school yet me pick me so bright. Grade shut down now. That no right. Can't right. Can't right. Well listen, we have to sit down and consider and work things out, see? Irate.
The main thing that brought us together, that we wanted to use theatre to expose the problems of women, to mobilize other women, to get other women to start to think, to start to do something.
We started looking for a name for the group, so we sat down and we brainstormed and we came up with Sistren. Why the name Sistren came about is because we were saying, well, a lot of men like to call themselves brethren, so we said, well, we can call ourselves Sistren.
The reason why we really stick so much in the organization as Sistren is because of the fact that there is this common feeling, this common experience, and we try to find ways to put this in some kind of harmony rather than agony, because it doesn't make sense to have a society that is giving you all kinds of agonies, and you don't try and find some way to kind of organize and combat the situation.
To the outside world, there are two Jamaicas. There's the lush life of tourist resorts, and there's the sinister face of the ghetto areas, often sensationalized. But most Jamaicans live in a different world, beyond the stereotypes. It's from this world that Sistren takes its dramatic material.
In the early days when Sistren started out, we started out as impact program workers sweeping the street.
And that was mainly for women who wasn't working, since women was the main breadwinner of their family. We started with 13 women, and all of us were from different background and coming from different communities.
To celebrate Workers' Week, the group created a play from their own life experience.
When we done that, it was so acceptable that we decided to stay together. That is why Sistren is together for 18 years now.
The Sistren Collective was founded in the 1970s in the period of the Manley government, a time when grassroots people felt that they too could take part in the process of nation building. Drawing on their cultural heritage, Sistren were pioneers in using popular theatre to reveal the struggles and achievements of Caribbean women.
See it. Oh no, see it. The same knife for stick sheep, stick board. Well, we will lock down this blasted factory.
When Sistren take a play on the road, whether to theatres abroad or to the rural hills of Jamaica, there's a magical communication between actresses and audience. This is the story of Warrior, a Jamaican woman whose life mirrors the trials and tribulations of many women.
Lady, any word, please, ma'am. We can't do anything, you know, ma'am. Any little thing.
When she finally finds work, she faces new problems.
I could stop looking for nerve. What's wrong with that? How are we going to match?
Once again, Sistren has created a bond with its audience. Their work has always highlighted the concerns of women.
When my grandmother said her grandmother tell her about slavery time, when they brought our people down into the Caribbean to be sold into bondage. You might say we were the first merchandise for the Caribbean, first free market.
The effects of structural adjustment?
Higher prices, and hard when we do what them say we do, missus, we will never be able to pay and can never pay them off.
Please, and this person we give this job must be well qualified. I'm very sorry.
The search for employment?
The life, you know, sir, she been working and washing people dirty clothes, sir. And she send me to school, and this is the opportunity for me to help her,
Look,
sir.
I haven't heard that story before. I'm very sorry. We just can't help you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
We could work something out, you know. Miss Plummer, is it?
The trauma of incest.
That's it.
No, Daddy, ouch.
Just a little bit more.
No, Daddy.
This is just between you and me.
No. Daddy, no.
We would present a play and people would come and we educate them and they would enjoy it, and you know they will see that, well, we're talking about a social issue, we're making a social commentary, and we're trying to see how we as women could organize ourselves in a way where we can discuss the problems and try to find possible solutions with it. So we started looking at more in-depth work in terms of looking at workshop situations.
We've been focusing on teenage parenthood, communication between parents and children, you know, teenage sexuality and all of that. And we've carried that as one of our major issue and, you know, concern. And we've been doing workshops in the schools for the past 8 years.
Now they're preparing a presentation on teenage sexuality for an audience of young mothers.
But you can't just sit down and talk. So you know Sistren workshop where you have to present a skit. So which skit you want to use?
Me know the one done with. You remember the one where the boy them always try to influence the girls them? Tell them say if them have one ball, they can't get pregnant. Or if they stop and do it, they won't get pregnant again.
You said it here when these boys talk about the flash out. be frightened. Me say little boy when he flash out, share the little boy bright and bright. All you have to do, you know, mother, is just draw it out before them things come.
What we're gonna have now is a scene from a skit presentation called Doreen Done With. The whole skit looks at teenage parenthood, but we're just gonna do a small scene. Then we're gonna ask you to look at it carefully, because at the end of the presentation, we're gonna ask you to tell us what you saw. We're gonna discuss the issues that came out of it and how you see a possible solution to whatever aspect of the skit. Okay?
So what, Doreen? What, you want the cherry start pick yet?
What do you mean?
You start have sex yet, Doreen? No, son. Doreen, you have an aisle. Because I'm a place where you can go right down, you know, Doreen. And make sure you say, you see when you release the aisle there, Doreen, you're mad, you're crippled. Hey, don't leave yet, Doreen. And Doreen, when you are there at school, Doreen, you just sit down and just look so, because what the aisle release, Doreen. You can't drink a Pepsi after you have sex, and I mean nothing go do you see, Doreen? Yes, when you say you make Iron be the first, yes, Doreen, because I use the flash out of the jelly bag. See, Doreen? Go on, Doreen, go on. Go on, Doreen, man, go on. Move on, Doreen, man. Don't cry, Doreen.
Well, Doreen said yes to sex, and now she's pregnant.
So what kind of advice can we give to a child of 12 like Doreen who doesn't know and have people like Mark influencing her to do things that she don't really want to do?
All the things that he told her about drinking Pepsi after sex and standing up and having sex when they get her pregnant, they are myths.
Through drama, these young mothers gain a new perspective on their situation.
Think about yourself. Think about how it's going to affect the people around you. And what is going to happen in the long run with your future.
Hear me now, boyfriend, and see if you remember. Take domestic violence off your agenda. And don't tell me that the picnic is the woman alone response, because it takes two to tango, I mean, oh, you're done.
While Sistren are best known for their stage productions, the most important part of the group's work takes place far from the footlights.
It's very informative. I'm sure you will enjoy it.
The research section publishes books, papers, and a magazine, and is constantly involved in documenting the lives of Caribbean women.
Sistren has also been training a lot of women because we're looking for leadership. A lot of these things they knew they had in themselves, but it was kind of bottled up, and they wanted to kind of open up a bit and, you know, get some more experience and feel more confident to go back into their own communities to share these experiences.
The prize-winning Miss Amy and Miss May tells the story of two early Jamaican feminists whose friendship crossed colour lines.
We did it! We made people think about women's rights. Compulsory education. An infant care centre. Registration of all fathers. Decent housing and free access to birth control. Training of women. Employment of our women. And women in positions of power.
An individual can have an idea and carry it forward, and yes, I agree with that. But to me, collectively, or at least 2 or 3 persons coming together can do more than what one individual can do.
Woman a strength, yes. Woman a warrior. Hard worker and relentless struggler. We get downhearted, still no lose hope. When things get harder, we still try to pick up.
These stories have shown us how women's groups are defining their own issues and priorities. Groups like Sewa and Sistren are part of a growing international movement promoting the idea that women's rights are human rights and that the empowerment of women is central to the achievement of long-term sustainable development.
The question is what more needs to be done to further empower women? And I think there are just 2 things. One is resources and the other is access. Resources for institution building and for political mobilization, and access to decision-making at all levels.
Women must be willing to get onto the political scene, because it is the politicians who make policies, it's the politicians who decide where the resources will be spent. And so if we want issues of women issues to be given resources, the politicians must pay attention. And they will only pay attention if we are active in politics.